Was already introduced here, and you see an old guy sitting in front of you talking about disappointments, which to some extent obviously his size of audience is reflecting, unfortunately. But I still believe in VR, and for the last 3 years I'm very actively involved with various companies and also did the fundraising for them. So let's share what we can learn from this and why will it change and is still a business of interest to all of us. When you talked about my CV, the only thing to be added before I retired 2 years ago, I was the COO of Square Enix, so another company which is pretty active in VR in the meantime. So what we see here is, first of all, let me share the bad news. Starting with the bad news is obviously leading to the good news, which we all want to see. So you can see that what is the biggest problem that people are seeing? It's the user experience. So there's no app yet where it's really fun to play it. I read yesterday in the latest statistics that the average playing time is just between 10 and 20 minutes. So it's not a lot of that. It's nothing the people want to spend their time in. Why is it also? We come to that when we talk the hardware later. What we need, and the biggest obstacle, is obviously the missing installed base. There's only one business model which is out there right now, which does not require the millions of installed headsets, and that is, for instance, if you do a virtual exhibition. So every visitor gets a headset, and then he can walk the exhibition. So one of the models which is experienced right now here in Germany for the first time. And I'm mentioning it already, look at the hardware, we come to that, and that's where the other headache comes from for those who play. So obviously it's saying we do the hardware first when you look at the curve, and the software will catch up on time. One of the companies I'm involved with is Fidius in Los Angeles, and they have done this raw data, which in its initial month made about $1 million in revenues. Obviously, considering this low install base, that one has not improved in the meantime. We are waiting for more headsets to go out. The numbers actually were updated yesterday because SuperData released the latest statistics. And what you can see is the numbers per offline headset and the mobile part. Considering that we expected 16.5 million, that was the prediction last year, and now we are talking 2 million only, it clearly shows where's the installed base. That's the big mess. You may get the funding to create the product, but then who do you sell it to? If there are not enough people, if you're not going across the platforms. So why is it enhancing the experience? Why did they come to us as the gamers? Because first of all, we have the literacy. We understand what's going on. We want to have the ultimate gaming experience. We are prepared to spend money for gaming. So it's not the typical mentality of many people, it needs to be free. That's why they started with the gaming. And other people are interested as well. Travel companies are coming to us. The movie industry is talking about doing trailers in VR. So you are inside the next Star Wars, for instance. They are doing it already, right? And then the other ones will follow. Being involved in one of the companies doing VR for theme parks, they had lots of visitors from the military. So they would like to use it, and it saves them going to the outside all the time. So they can build cases in which the soldiers have to fight. You can also see, if you watch advertising enough, I can't remember which brand it is, but there's one car where you experience it in virtual reality. So the retailer or the trader is giving you the headset, and then you can drive the car and experience it without going out with it. If that changes your decision, I have my doubts, but at least it's a nice gimmick, and people appreciate it. So what is the forecast saying? And you see I'm using a lot of statistics, so at least I try to have the common numbers and not invent new ones. So, and we can see that the mobile is picking up. There's another thing which we will see in a second. Where's now the difference between augmented reality and virtual reality? When I talked about augmented reality a year ago in Amsterdam, people were shaking their head. Then came Pokemon Go, and now everybody's dreaming of augmented reality. So, and when you look for money, the investments have changed big time. So it was not a lot in 2015. It hyped very much in 2016, and I don't know what it will look like this year. But you can see in the segments, now it's more on the augmented reality side. That's where the investors are saying they put their money. Not all of them, but at least in the statistics, we see some of them. So the old investors, which were big last year and the year before, I even listed them by names because there were not that many. As the guy who made that presentation before already showed, there have been a lot of investments in second half 2016. So how does it change? Now it's the mainstream VCs are trying to come in. They are reading about that it's beyond the games. It goes to everything else, automobiles, military, travel, real estate, big thing for virtual reality. But why are they reluctant? And I'm learning that when I speak to those investors, trying to raise the money for companies, and they will say, okay, number one excuse, where's the market? There's no market. Second thing is, why is it unique? What makes this experience so special? I don't see it yet. Third one is, well, the headsets are still not good enough. I still get headache when I wear the heavy headset. So I don't believe there is a future for this kind of technology. And then they're saying, yeah, we need to wait. Give me a business case. The typical response from many investors, right? They show, okay, do you have experience? We heard it before also from the other speaker. When you have had a hit, you obviously are the winner and you will much easier get the money. When you're a total newcomer, it's not that easy. So sometimes it helps, and that's where I disagree with the guy speaking before, that you have somebody who can open the doors, knowing it and not bringing everything really bad or not good enough to a VC. So what are they doing now? You see the names, which we have heard before, and then you see the smaller amounts being available to be invested. Of course, you can go to Oculus and say, okay, I do it for you. They go through the approval process. You may get $100,000, $150,000 for your product. That's the current run rate I know of. But usually you want more. If you have a number of people working for you, it's not easy to only live with 100 or 150,000 going forward. So what you see here, the smaller amounts are preferred. So what are the barriers? Motion sickness, still the big issue. And it goes on and on. I mean, some people have solved it on the technology side, so software-wise. Other people are still working on it, even of the ones who are offering new headsets right now. So you see the awareness being in there. And again, we are seeing what is the big problem, the user experience. They are waiting for the right content. So who can invent it? Who has the idea? Hopefully somebody is sitting in this round. There needs to be content which is really like a Pokemon Go was for AR. So it could be the brand, it could be the game idea. In case of Pokemon Go, we know what it was. So what are they still fearing? That it's not accurate enough. You are in that world and you have the latency issues and whatever, or you are turning your head and the picture is not following fast enough. That is bad experience. Or when I tried something like a Quake game, I mean, you almost throw up, although you do virtual reality all the time. But that was tough. And obviously it was depending to some extent on the new headset. But I've seen the latest generation where they have complete wireless and 4K screens, no more lines. I mean, that's where the fun starts. And we are going to see it in the market. So what will it change, or what can change the whole thing? And this year is a year where we can get better headsets out there in the next round. So we need the technology which can drive everything. And with that and the content, you see the order which I have written down. So when it then starts making money, that's when the VCs come to you and not the other way around. Right? So you need one product, one hit, you have a follow-up. We need to see if this market is going to develop a bit like the mobile market, where we all know there's only one company which could repeat the success. Most of the others failed. Right? So what will change? And that is very important, because you look at the Samsung Gear, you saw the numbers before, 4 point whatever million headsets already out there. Why are there so many? Because they also gave it away for those people who bought a Samsung phone. And the other one is obviously the Daydream from Google. I'm not counting cardboard here, because nobody is saying that's a headset, right? I mean, it's a nice arrangement, and it's a good entry point for people who don't understand VR. For others, it is. That's not part of my presentation, by the way. All right. So what are the people saying? Again, I give you the statistics, but I'll try to speak. So what will change? People will say that augmented reality now is becoming more important than virtual reality. One of the points. And again, you see where's the money being spent. On augmented reality, the games are a very small portion compared to the virtual reality. Again, that's where the gamer is being approached. What we have are the different use cases. So what are you doing with your device? You can play the games, you can watch your videos and movies, you can watch the live events, and lately, and what lots of people like, especially on the female side, obviously you can shop with it as well. And it's nice to see, I don't know if somebody has seen it at CES, where you go into a virtual store, a dressing store, and you put the various stuff on, and you see yourself in the new clothing. So that's what people like and will enjoy, and it will make the majority of the revenues. So listing all the players is just for statistic purposes, so I'm not going to read that, and it's too small anyway. But you see, there are the big guys on the offline headsets and the mobile headsets listed here. I did not put in Magic Leap because nobody knows the secret, right? We can all read it in the press. So here you see some wonderful statements, the goal, the plan, the action, but I'll let you read it yourself. Again, what will change? You need to develop different. So look at that, what makes VR so special. And that's also that what people would like to hear when you do a presentation. So, by the way, I think you can download my presentation anyway from Casual Connect. So then it's too small here to take pictures. So what are the engines? There are a few engines only available. Very important that we stick to more or less that kind of engines. For a simple reason, they will be in common across the headsets at one point. So when you run to an investor and you want to prepare yourself, here I listed that what you should do before you ask him for the money, right? You need the headline. Why are you so different? What is the new one? I'm sitting inside a car or whatever that may be. I will have to say, who's my target audience? Who am I addressing? And we are addressing the gamers at this point. Are the male gamers? Are the female gamers? Are the kids? I doubt it. Because one point was never mentioned in any presentation, what will happen with the regulations by law, starting with the age rating, ending up with the health issues, not addressed yet by any one of the guys. None of the players has given it a thought at this point, trying to find out, will my machine, my device, cause sickness? I don't know the English word well. I think it's called epilepsy or whatever. We had that once on the Game Boy many, many years ago, decades ago. That will happen here as well. We need to. How about age rating issues? I mean, we are in Germany. We know the issue very well. So when you talk about what money you need, I mean, I come to that in a second again. But if you need 100,000, don't say you need 50,000. You may say 150 because developers usually are not on time and obviously cost more. So when you have the concept, what is it so special about your product? That is absolutely key. You need the argument. You do not want to be the next standard spaceship approach program or ego shooter or whatever unless you have a brand coming with it. Then you can make a difference within the genre. But maybe you have a great, good, and new idea, then people will listen. And don't forget, even when you talk to the VCs, many of those guys who talk to you are ex-gaming people, gaming specialists, or at least they are very dedicated to gaming, right? So they know what you are talking about. So last one is always the commercial one. Don't forget the business model. It looks like we are falling in the same trap on VR like we did on mobile. It's free to play. Some people like this raw data game. You need to pay for it. So it's premium content. Most of the content is still free. You can test it and then you can upgrade. And at one point, listening to people like Apple, we will have to talk about subscriptions. Whatever the model is, you need to decide on one and prepare it in your business plan. So what else? As I said, contingency. Developers tend to say, I'm ready at date X, and it becomes X plus 3 months, 6 months, 5 years, whatever. I mean, being at Square Enix, I can sing that song very well. Right? So you need contingency, additional money. And then what other presenters said before as well, you really need to know what you're talking about in terms of VR. So why is it so special? Why is your team really good at it? Because you may have the wonderful Flash developer who is awarded many times. Flash doesn't count anymore, as we all know. Let's stick to the leaders, one of my recommendations. I mean, trying to support a new one who is just coming out. To be honest, I learned one thing in the many years. I follow the market. I don't need to create it, right? And it is being created, although with low numbers today, but it will be big. So my conclusion, do not believe all the statistics and forecasts. However, what we see as actual numbers coming out, like the release of super data last night, that are usually reliable data, which you need for your business plan. You need to know the installed base and who you want to reach there. And another thing, when people are saying VR is dead, VR is dreadful and whatever, they just know bad news are selling better. And I disagree, because it's going to be big. And it's the ultimate gaming experience. For everybody who's a gamer, he will confirm it, right? It's really fun. Okay, that was it. Thank you very much, and goodbye.